Hey guys, welcome back. This is episode 22, I think, 22, 23 of my Out of the Park Baseball 22 playthrough as the Detroit Tigers. It is September 1st, and once again, we have run away with the Central Division. Played August offline as I normally do, and we went 18-7. So if you take April out of the equation, we are 77 and it's 13 and 16, 20, 77 and 29 since May 1st. I would say that is pretty darn good if you ask me. Best offense in the American League, best pitching staff in the American League, and the second best defensive team in the American League. So we are getting it done all over the place. We get Andy Taylor back in today. We picked him up in a trade from the Dodgers earlier this year for Gilberto Jimenez. But it is time to, we got to get through September. We got to call a couple players up. I think it's going to be two pitchers. I'd like to call up Taylor, but I think he probably needs some time to rehab. So I think we're just going to make this really easy, and we're going to go Archie Bradley. And do I go Gargis or Sproat? I think we're going to go Sproat and just call up a couple pitchers and just backfill our bullpen here a little bit. That means hopefully we can, we'll avoid high leverage with Archie Bradley, avoid high leverage with Sproat, and just kind of get them some innings here over the course of the next month. We'll do a full recap of the team stats when the season ends, but you can see, offensively we're getting it done in a different way. We're just not hitting a lot of home runs this year. We're 7th in the American League in home runs, but first in runs scored. It's because we're first in on base, first in batting average, second in OPS. So we are getting it done just a different way. A lot of players hitting between 270 and 3. It looks like it might just be a bit of a down season offensively a little bit. But Bryce Ball, 25 home runs. Luzga, 24. Hira's almost at 20. And we're going to end up with a bunch of players at 20 home runs or more. Elijah Green, one of the things I noticed at the when we saw the player development at September, Elijah Green has his contact has improved, his current and his potential. Same thing with his gap power and his home run power. So he is starting to come along. So that's good. And then obviously pitching, things have been fine. Nicorak, Hancock, Job, Rodriguez have all been great. Bauer's been not great since coming over, but I don't know how much of that is a luck thing and how much of it's still. 356 BABIP isn't great. So so we've got another month to go here. So we'll just sort of sim through the next month on camera. And hopefully we can get to the end of the season without any major injuries. So there's Andy Taylor. We will send him on a rehab assignment, and we will keep going. So 90 and 44. I'll take it. And when it's all said and done, this is going to end up, at the rate we're going, this is going to end up being the best team we've put together so far. And there we go. That's the injury I was hoping to avoid, as we lose Nicorak for the rest of the season. And to make it worse, because he's out for so long, he may not even get a contract from another team, which would give us the comp pick. So that sucks. All right, we'll call up Andy Taylor. Looks like Jeff McNeil is hurt too. Wonderful. All right, so who moves into? I guess we just move Will Sanders back into that rotation spot. Well, it's going to start to it's going to start to test our depth here. Hopefully, we can avoid any other significant injuries, but that one hurts. That one hurts right out of the chute. 92 and 46, on pace for 108 victories this year, which would be our best. I think our best was 102. What was our best season? 103. So 102 games in 20. Look at this. 5 straight seasons of more than 90 wins. 102 wins in 2024, 103 wins in 2025, 96 a year ago, and we're on pace for 108 this year. So it looks like Sanders' first game back. Yep, his first game as a starter was really good. 2 runs in 7 innings, striking out 8. Yeah, and we'll just keep going. I'd like to get Takelet. Oh, God, it's gonna be so good. His control has gotten a little better, but it's still. I'm just gonna leave. I mean, he's only 22. We'll just leave him in the minors until next year and call him up next year. So McNeil's only out for 4 days, so that's okay. So let's get to the end of the month. So yeah, I mean, obviously we have the Central wrapped up. We are about 15 to 20 games better than the next best team in the American League. So we should have the top seed locked up. We should be the favorites going into the postseason. Hopefully we can. Two seasons ago, we got knocked out in the first round. This past season, we got knocked out in the ALCS. Hopefully we can push it another step further and go to the World Series this year. That would be our first World Series. As we hit the 100 win mark, we are 101 and 48 on the year. We have number 1 and number 3 in ERA on the season. And we lose Will Sanders for 4 weeks. Of course we do. Why wouldn't we? We've been moderately lucky with our injuries this year, and it looks as though that luck is coming to an end. So we're going to call up Takelet, and we're going to put Adam Hill in the rotation, just because. And we will move Takelet into a middle relief role. Yeah. All right. Well, we still have the 4 starters that we're going to go with in the postseason. So as long as none of our other 4 starters are injured, I think we'll be okay. As we can run with what we have for, we're only going to run with a 4-man rotation in the postseason anyway. Just means, we can't use Nikolak, which is the problem. I mean, he was the one that we really wanted as our ace going into. And look at, God, we are 10 games better than the next closest team, which is the Chicago Cubs. 107 and 51 on the year. We were a machine this year, the Detroit Tigers, getting it done offensively and defensively. We're going to hit October 1st. It's going to pause. So player development. Andy Taylor has been almost perfect. Trevor Stephen-Sproat, Nikolak got worse, as to be expected. Hancock got better. Lou got better. Any of our other key young players on here? Ed Bradley was our second round pick this past year. He got a lot better. He had a pretty nice start to his career. Cool. Armelini's another one. Nice. All right. So AL Batter of the Month, Eric Pena. NL Batter of the Month, Luis Robert, playing for Colorado now. Michael Massey gets the Pitcher of the Month in the American League. Just Justin Lang, not Alex Lang. So Justin Lang in the National League. AL Newcomer of the Year, Jack Caglianone, 24-year-old first baseman. And in the National League, Munetya Murakami, who, again, he was somebody we looked at, and I would have considered him had he not wanted an 8-year contract. I wasn't ready to pay an unproven 27-year-old for 8 years, but, he's getting it done for the Cubs. All right, well, let's finish off the season, and then we will look at the stats, and we'll get to the postseason. Verdugo is day-to-day for a week. I'm just terrified that we're going to suffer some sort of major injury between now in one of these last 2 games. We win 10-3, and the last game of the year, don't get hurt. Don't get hurt. 108 and 54. Okay, so we finished with 108 victories. Best team in baseball. Top offense in baseball. Top pitching in baseball. Again, second best defensive team in baseball. We got it done across the board. Elijah Green with a hot final month of the season finishes at 230. Look at put up almost 4 WAR. His batting stats. Look at his splits for September. Yeah, 286, 353, 560. He was really good the last month of the season. So awesome. So we finished 108 and 54, 22 games up. We'll start with pitching, and we'll just kind of run through. Trevor Bauer was okay, 3 and 4, 4.96, but these are going to be our 4 starters: Hancock, Bauer, Job, and Grayson Rodriguez. Although Adam Hill he only made a couple of starts, but was quite good in his 3 starts for us. Anyway, bouncing around here a bit. All right, so pitching. Mick Abel, really, we've talked about him all year. He really got the job done as a bullpen piece for us. He found his niche as a bullpen arm, put up a higher WAR this year or almost a higher WAR this year in 78 innings as he did in 165 a year ago. So as a reliever, he's fantastic. Grayson Rodriguez followed up an 11-1 season with a 15-5 season. So 26-6 in his 2 years with us. It was only good for 2 WAR, which is a little strange, but a 125 ERA plus, 165 strikeout. He was really good. He was really good. Ken Giles, in what will likely be his final season with the Tigers, has had 3 outstanding seasons for us. 7.5 WAR for $12 million. I will take it out of a closer. He was just dominant in all 3 seasons. Emerson Hancock followed up his 15-7 season with, frankly, even though his WAR was cut in almost half, he was better this year than he was last year. 12-7, cut his ERA by almost half a run, gave up like 50 fewer hits this season, walked more, struck out less. He gave up, his whip was a little bit lower. His ERA plus was a lot higher. He had a really good year for us. Led the league in ERA, 3.32, so good stuff there. Jake Eder had a really nice season as a bullpen arm for us, 70 strikeouts in 43 innings. Tanner Scott came in at the trade deadline and was fantastic as a stopper for us. 31 games, 41 innings, struck out 50, was 4-1 with a 1.98 and 6 saves. So he was really, really good in that stopper role for us. Trevor Stephan, his second full season with us, or I guess his first full season with us, was pretty good. 1.3 WAR. He was 9-2 out of the bullpen. Talked about Bauer. He was 3-4 with a 4.96 for us. Not great, but his last 3 starts were optimistic. Only 4 runs in his final 19. Adam Hill, we talked about. He was really good in a swing role. Only 66 hits allowed in 100 innings, so he's been fantastic. Jackson Jobe, after coming over from Cincinnati, 8-2, put up a 4.13 ERA, struck out 105 in 100 innings. So that was a trade. Giving up Casey Mize was tough, but this is a deal that I think long term is going to be better for us. We'll get the same production out of Jobe at a fraction of the cost. Sproat, Takelet, and Bradley didn't pitch much. Sproat was really good. 1.99 ERA. Takelet only pitched 1 game. Bradley pitched in 4. So, although getting Bradley back now will be nice. The extreme ground ball pitcher, having him in the bullpen in the postseason will be nice. And then lineup-wise, just a great season from a lot of players. And again, WARs are I don't want to say they're off, but when Lou had, this tells me that offense was down across the board this year, because he hit 34 home runs this year, 93 runs knocked in. Well, I guess maybe not. His numbers were pretty comparable to his 2025 season. His counting stats were a little higher, but that's because he played more games. At any rate, he's one of the best third basemen in the league, and he was good for 7.5 WAR. Alex Verdugo, day-to-day for a couple days, but he should be fine. His first full season with us was exactly what we wanted. An 860 OPS, had 44 doubles, got on base at almost a 400 clip at the top of the order. And this has always bugged me, the personality traits for Alex Verdugo. If you're a Red Sox fan, you know that Alex Verdugo is the definition of somebody who works hard. So to say that he dogs it too often and the fact that he's a low leader, those are all falsehoods, and shame on Out of the Park Baseball for sticking those to Alex Verdugo. Keston Hiura's first year with us was really everything we could have wanted. I mean, he had a 5-win season, 860 OPS, 26 home runs, drove in almost 100, and I don't know if we're going to be able to bring him back next year. For $6 million, that's a lot of money for us. Hopefully we win the World Series and we get a bump in budget and stuff. But if not, we may have to move on from him. I don't know. Elijah Green was terrific as a rookie, 231. On base percentage was a little light, slugged 420, only had a 706 OPS, but 28. That's 55 extra base hits. And again, he was. I imagine he's going to win the Gold Glove in center field. His efficiency is great. His zone rating is great. So he had a fantastic rookie season. Glad we handed it to him. Marcelo Meyer was down a bit, as everybody was, but still put up a 3.5 WAR. And he's only 24, so he should be fine. Bryce Ball ended up with more home runs this year than he had last year. Increased his WAR by almost by more than half a run. So yeah, he's been pretty solid. He's due for ARB this year, so it'll be interesting to see what he's due to make. Corey Collins, again, another move that I think long term was the right one for us as we moved on from our catching tandem of 2 years ago. But 16 home runs, 726 OPS, 2.7 WAR, and a very good defensive catcher, and he's still relatively cheap. Josiah Morrissey, 2 WAR. Again, he was brought in for his defense, though. And the fact that he gave us 11 home runs is terrific. Defensively, he was very, very good at second base. So, again, our off-season plan of improving the defense at the expense of the offense worked, and we didn't even have to sacrifice the offense that much. Jeff McNeil, he was fine. He gave us what you would expect. A lot of doubles. Some average to below average defense, but even that was significantly better than expected. High efficiency, zone rating was positive. Austin Hayes, we brought in at the trade deadline, hit 300 for us, 826 OPS, was the bat we were looking for. He gave us just that one additional bat in the lineup while still playing good defense. So Cartaya, Caranto, and Bishop, none of them played that much. I think Cartaya is probably on his way out after this season, just with what his expected ARB estimate will be. And then Caranto is there as a backup. So that is where we stand from a statistic point of view. We have to set our playoff roster. So is there anybody not on the roster that we want on the roster? So we can have Andy Taylor, and I think that makes sense. At the expense of who, though? Sproat. Bring in Andy Taylor. Do we go Archie Bradley? Yeah, we do. All right. So if we go back here, and so we're going to move Adam Hill out of the rotation. So we have a couple of days still. My mouse is acting up. So we're going to go Rodriguez, Hancock, Bauer, Job. And then in the bullpen, I want to kind of push everybody in a little bit earlier. So we'll go Andy Taylor in the setup, 7th or later. He'll be 7th or later. Stefan will come in 6th or later. And we'll run with that. He'll be the long relief. And I guess it doesn't really matter. But this allows us to go to our very, very good bullpen here early on, as we can go to Tanner Scott or Andy Taylor. A lot of these guys that were just fantastic during the regular season, we go to them early in case the starters struggle at all. So we're going to save. Then we're going to sim ahead to see who we're playing in the postseason. And we got a shot. I would hesitate to say I want to say we're the favorites just because we won 108 games, but this is our third 100-win season in the last 4, and we didn't win anything in either of the other 2. So let's go to the next playoff round. We're going to be taking on either Cleveland or Houston. let's see who we're taking. So Pittsburgh beats Colorado. So you have Pittsburgh, Chicago, LA, and Atlanta in the National League. And in the American League, we're going to be taking on the Indians. The Indians defeated the Houston Astros 11-1. So let's quickly take a look at the second place Cleveland Indians. They went 86-76 this year, middle of the road offensively, not a very good pitching staff. Just not a very good pitching staff at all. Guillaume's is a good pitcher, though. I mean, 25 and potential 5-star. Tyson Heaton, a 26-year-old. So, I mean, ratings-wise, they're pretty good. Offensively, they weren't good at all. Jeff Murray, whoever that is, 23-year-old, was their leading hitter. Yeah, they aren't very good. They aren't very good at all. So, hopefully, this means we are in line here for a, I don't want to say a quick series, but we should be the favorite. And again, I mean, you look at we were only 11-8 against them this year, so it's not as if we dominated. So let's get going. So we will sim through the first game, and we lose. And this is exactly what I was afraid of. So now we have to win 4 of the next 5 games in order to advance. So they got on us early. 4 runs in the first inning and a third. Scott came in and gave up 3 runs. He actually gets the loss. We were winning. We were winning 5-4 going into the 7th inning. You gotta be kidding me. Come on. All right, so let's see what happens in game 2. Emerson Hancock against Tyson Heaton. And we lose again. We are going to win 108 games in the regular season, and we are going to get knocked out in the first round against an 86-win Indian team, unless we win 3 in a row. So they scored 3 in the top of the second. We scored 2. We tied it in the 5th. They took the lead in the 6th and would hold on. Hancock went 5 1/3, gave up 4 runs. Lou homered, Morrissey homered, Trevor Story homered for them. So now we got to win 3 in a row, which, I mean, is obviously doable since we won 108 games this year, but we now have to win 3 games in a row. And we'll make sure that, so it wants us to start Trevor Bauer against Seth Bowe, who's their best starter, of course. Do we go with Bauer or do we go with Job? I think we go with Bauer. And just hope that we can get it done. I don't know what This is irritating. All right, here we go. Game 3. Do we get swept? No, we come back and we win. So we take game 3 by the final score of 6-2. So we were up 6-0, gave up a couple runs in the 9th. Austin Hayes 2 for 4, 4 runs knocked in. Bauer went 4 1/3, and then our bullpen came in and did enough to get the job done. Okay, so we're still alive, and we go back to. We're gonna go back up to the top of the order or top of the rotation. Or we're gonna go with Jackson Jobe here. Is Rodriguez ready? No, I think we're gonna stick with Jobe. I'd rather. We were 62-19 at home, and we lost the first 2 games. All right, whatever. I'm not going to worry about that. We are going to go with Jackson Jobe against Jake Thompson here in game 4, and we lose series in 4 games. Oh, you got to be kidding me. You got to be absolutely kidding me as we lose 2-1. So our offense just completely fizzled. Top offense in the American League, nowhere to be found here in the postseason. Jobe pitched really, really well. 1 run, 2 hits in 7 innings. And unfortunately, Ken Giles' Tigers' career is going to come to an end as he gives up a walk-off home run in the 9th inning to their right fielder, Jeff Murray. Yeah. All right. Well, let's get to the end of the postseason and see what we can do. We don't have any money, so we're going to have to get creative again this year, I think. But all right, so the Mariners, the Indians, the Pirates, and the Dodgers. Great. Will Sanders is eligible to come back. Mariners are up 2-0. Pirates and Dodgers have tied their series at 2. Let's go for a Mariners-Pirates World Series. That would be fun. So the Mariners make it, and the Pirates. So we have a Seattle Mariners, Pittsburgh Pirates World Series. That, I can at least get behind that. I can at least get behind that. At least it's not the Dodgers or the Braves or the Angels or one of those teams that seems to always win it. So the Seattle Mariners and the Pirates will go to Game 6. Can the Pirates force a Game 7, or will the Mariners win the 2025? What year are we in? 2027, I think. 2027 World Series. They do. Seattle Mariners are your World Series champions. That is a huge, huge bummer. We won 108 games, and our offense was nowhere to be found in the postseason. Apparently, I'm an OTP god, even though we didn't make it out of the first round. All right, so who retired? Our third base coach. All right, so new budget, team payroll of about $120 million. So that gives us a little bit of money to play with, which is good. We can always save some more money in arbitration. What does Nicarac want? He wants 20. I'm going to offer him the qualifying offer. If we get him back this year, that's fine. So we'll offer him the qualifying offer. The rest of these guys, I think we just have to let walk. What does Giles want? Yeah, I can't afford to pay him that. I mean, we have some players that we can bring in and slide into that role, so I'm not too concerned about it, but some of these people are starting to get expensive. So right off the bat, we can cut De Los Santos. I'm not going to pay him 3.5. Adam Hill wants 1.1. Submit there. And my mouse is still acting up on me. One of these days, I'll get a new mouse. Jackson Jobe wants 997. So we'll offer him 965. He'll probably take that. And again, I know I say this every year, but I do this intentionally so that I can get fan interest bumps from the players that are considered popular, which, given where we are in terms of our finances, those fan interest bumps are incredibly important. So Mick Abel wants 2.6, which I think is manageable, but we'll drop it down to 2.9. I don't think that's going to work. Yeah, okay, it's fine. Jake Eater wants 1.5. Give him 1.425. Okay. Zach Hess, he was in AAA. We're just going to go ahead and withdraw that. Corey Collins wants 4.6, which he wants a long-term deal. I don't know that I want to pay him for that long. He wants 4.6, so we can do 4.50. So about 150 grand. Yeah. And we can readdress it down the road. Marcelo Meyer, can we sign him long term? He wants 9.9 right now. He's 24. I don't suspect he's going to have any interest in a long-term deal like this, but we shall see. The problem is that we lost that extra year of arbitration, so players become free agents faster than they did previously. Yeah. 9.9. Okay, so 9.9. 9.5. Okay. Save a little bit of money there. Bryce Ball wants $4.6 million. I don't know that that's worth it. I don't know that I can afford to pay both Bryce Ball and Keston Hiura. And I don't know that I want to pay Cartaya 2-4. So let's start with this. All right, so there's some interest in Cartaya. I'd like to bring in a catcher that is... Oh, well, he's not bad. I'd like to bring in a catcher that's cheaper, if I could. Feliciano. No. Yeah, there's not really anybody all that interesting there. I mean, I would trade him for Weatherly. I mean, it feels... Pete Lavin doesn't like it, but it feels like a good deal. Next thing I want to do is try Bryce Ball. All right, so we get some catching options here. Oh, wow, he's really good defensively. Okay, so guys, what I'm going to do is this: I'm gonna pause here, and I'm going to, because I've got some trade decisions to make. I don't want this to be a 2-hour video, so I'm gonna make a lot of these decisions offline. So I will come back at free agency, and we'll go over the deals that were made. We'll look at the arbitration numbers, who won the awards, etc., etc. So I'll be back in just a minute. All right, we are back. It is free agency. If you can hear some noise in the background, I apologize. I had to turn my air conditioning on. So that's what you hear. And because my office is like 100 degrees, I'm going to leave it on, and you all are just going to have to listen to me through it. So we made 2 deals leading up to free agency, both to try to free up some salary space or some money to try to make a moderate splash in the offseason this year. And I think we did okay. I wouldn't say that the deals we made were phenomenal, but I would say that they were okay. So we'll pull up the transaction log. You'll see them both, and then we'll just kind of go through them one at a time. So Nicorak rejected the qualifying offer, so he will be a free agent, and we will potentially get a first-round pick or a second-round pick, depending on where and when he signs. But we made 2 deals, and the first was we sent Diego Cartaya to the New York Yankees. And you can see he is now making $2.5 million, which isn't a ton, but it's, more than I wanted to pay our backup catcher. And in return, we got someone who's not quite as good offensively, but better defensively. And we also had to give up Ben Moreno, who is a 2-star, 20-year-old outfielder. Doesn't look like he's ever going to... He's listed as a center fielder. He's defensively not going to be good enough to play center field. His bat may come around, it may not, but he's already 20, so not really all that fussed about giving him up. And then a half-star pitcher. So really, it was Cartaya that we needed to give up along with Moreno to pick up someone who's a year younger, cheaper, and better defensively. And that player is Antonio Gomez, 26-year-old who started last year for the Yankees, 18 home runs on the season, put up 2.6 WAR, and is... as far as defense goes, there aren't many players better. So he's making the minimum this year. He's due for arbitration next season. He'll split time with Collins and will run with 2 catchers again. But again, not quite as good offensively, but better defensively. And in order to get that, along with saving some money, basically we paid New York Ben Moreno to take $2.5 million off our hands, which... maybe not ideal, but, something we needed to do. And then the other deal we made, it was with the Toronto Blue Jays. And again, it was 1 player along with a 2-star prospect that I wasn't crazy about giving up, and then a couple players that I didn't care about for somebody who's younger and potentially better down the road. So we traded Bryce Ball, Rainer Castillo, Jamie Patterson, and Zach Hess to the Blue Jays, getting Alex Green in return. So we'll start with what we gave up. Alex Hess spent most of the season in AAA last year. Didn't pitch particularly well when we called him up, so I'm fine with moving on from him. We gave up Rainer Castillo, who is a 2-star, 2.5-star extreme fly ball pitcher with 22 movement, so I anticipate that he's going to give up a ton of home runs. He was very, very bad in AA last season as a reliever, so they can have him. And then Jamie Patterson, who I didn't want to give up, But all of these things down here led me to believe that he's never going to quite develop the way we want him to. We drafted him in like the 4th or 5th round or something like that as somebody who just had some offensive ability, who may never hit them because of his lack of work ethic and everything else. And that's sort of come to fruition. He spent 3 full years now in rookie ball and was actually significantly worse this past year than he was the year before that. So, and then Bryce Ball, who's making $4.6 million in arbitration. We give up one of the few power bats in our lineup. My thought here, because you'll see the player we got in return doesn't have quite the home run power, but can make up for it in other ways. My thought here was that Elijah Green, in theory, should pick up some of that home run slack, and then we have some money to spend in free agency to plug in another batter. So we gave up Ball, who has, frankly, he was kind of a throw-in. He was a deal that I wasn't really expecting to make, but we got him for Colton Mahoney, who, to be fair, has pitched pretty well for San Francisco, but he provided that bat to us that we needed, and so Bryce Ball, Rainer Castillo, Jamie Patterson, and Zach Hess to the Blue Jays, and in return, we get Alex Green. Alex Green, again, 2-star, 3-star, so he hasn't quite grown into his full form yet, as it were. But significantly better defensively. In fact, I think let's just make him a first baseman now. Significantly better defensively than Ball is. He's a much better base runner than Ball is. And he could get on base at a 400 clip with that eye. His contact is going to be comparable to what Ball's was. His gap power is going to be similar. The only thing he's lacking is the home run power. But if he hits 15 home runs and gets on base at a 380 clip while stealing some bases and playing good defense, I'll take it. And he's making the minimum, which he's got only has 39 days of Major League experience, so we should have him for a couple of years here. And you can see last year he put up a 750 OPS in limited playing time. So those are the two deals we made leading up to free agency. It leaves us going into free agency with $24 million. We have bumped our ticket prices by $1 to try to generate some additional income. I'm contemplating. I mean, I think our development and scouting budget is fine. We've developed quite a few prospects with where the money, with where our finances have been set. So I don't really feel like, I don't think I need to change that much. I do need to hire a new third base coach. So third base coach, who do they think we should hire? Jamie Wright, Rod Barajas, Carlos Beltran. He's good at everything. Barajas is decent at everything. Garrett Lindsay, decent, good, excellent. And Eduardo Nunez, not very good. Jamie Wright is good, excellent. But I want someone who is going to get along well. So I think we're going to go with Beltran's good across the board. Garrett Lindsay is good, excellent, good, decent. Eduardo Nunez is, I think we're going to go Eduardo Nunez. Yeah. Good, legendary, excellent, decent. So we're going to go Eduardo Nunez, even though he doesn't, I mean, our pitching, our staff is fine. So we'll sign Eduardo Nunez. Once we get him on the books, we can plug him in here and we should be in good shape. So we have just under $25 million. I think from a pitching perspective. So let's quickly do this. Let's call up the players that we know. That's not where I wanted to go. I wanted to go here. So Hayden Jones is going to come up next season. Gargis will be up. Balog will start in AAA, but he'll likely spend the season with us. Fermed Hased. Collier ended up hitting over 200, but he'll start in AAA. The rest of these we'll just sort of mess with as we go on. So as of right now, this is our starting rotation. Rodriguez, Job, Sanders, Hancock, and Hayden Jones. Not necessarily in that order, but this is our rotation right now. From a bullpen perspective, I think Andy Taylor is our closer. Takelet as probably as a stopper. I want to use him as much as we possibly can. Eater and Abel as our setup men. Hased and Sproat as middle relief. So we've got 12. So we could use another bullpen arm. We need a bullpen arm. And from a lineup perspective, we need a couple of bats, really. We need Alex Green, I think, will be our first baseman. And Keston Hiura will likely be our designated hitter. So we could use an outfielder, or if we pick up a better bat, we can move on from Keston Hiura. So a couple of bats and a bullpen arm is kind of what we're looking for. So, and I was kind of sniffing around at this, and unfortunately all of the big names require compensation, and I'm not averse to paying out a compensatory pick for a lot of these players. It just depends on what we have to pay them initially, I guess. And there are some players in here who look like pretty I mean, we could bring back Austin Hayes, right? I mean, we just bring back Austin Hayes, stick him in left, and call it a day. That would take a lot of our money. So maybe, I mean, look at some of these names though. Juan Soto is on here, and he's not a compensatory pick. We don't have the kind of money for that though. Nesty Barrera is a international guy who just came in. He could, I mean, that's a 400 on base guy with, I mean, that's a leadoff hitter right there. If we had him, who's our second baseman? Morrissey. I mean, he could potentially be our DH. Can we get him for? Oof. Would you take that? 11, 14, 18, 20? No. Okay. I'm not going 5-6 years on some of these guys. We can't afford to. So we need a bat. We need two bats, really. Or at a minimum, we need one bat, and then two if we choose to move on from Keston Hiura, which I don't know that I want to do, but I don't know that I don't want to do it. We could steal Nolan Jones away from the Indians. He's been pretty good. I just have to be careful, right? Because I have to make sure that I'm not overspending on one player because we need multiple. And Helio Ramos would fit right into that kind of that thing that we're looking to do in terms of defense. I mean, we could have Green, Verdugo, and Ramos in our outfield. Verdugo could play left. And then try to find a bat to plug in there. I kind of like the idea of Helio Ramos. How long of a contract does he want? What's a long-term deal? I mean, if I could get him for like that, I would do that. So I think Ramos is going to be my number one target. Just, elite defensively. Stick him in right field, have Green in center, have Verdugo in left, and that's the best defensive outfield in baseball. And then we find a bat, and then we find another bat to plug in there, and then a bullpen arm. I'm not going to spend a lot of money on a bullpen piece, I don't think. Maybe if Giles' demand comes down, we can go after him. Edouard Colina only wants 1.3. That seems like a no-brainer. Let's offer that up right now. Sure. And then the rest of these guys we'll just sort of keep an eye on and see if we can strike a deal, with some of these guys as the prices start to come down. Because the back end of our bullpen, or the front end of our bullpen, I guess, is pretty solid. It's the back end that I would like to add. I mean, Taylor, Takelet, Abel, and Eater are all very, very good. But I don't know that I want Hased as being my main middle guy. I mean, I'm okay with Sproat, I'm okay with Hill, but it would be nice to add another piece or two. So I'm gonna screw around here for a bit. We'll come back to Rule 5, and we will see what's been done. So, once again, oh, you know what? Hold on. Before we do that, let's look at the awards. I didn't look. I mean, I looked at it, but you guys didn't see any of it. So we won a Gold Glove. Elijah Green, in his rookie season, wins the Gold Glove in center field. No surprise there. Nobody else on our team won which is a bit of a surprise. I'm surprised we didn't. Maybe at second base. Khalil Watson wasn't bad, but I thought Morrissey might get a shot at it. Reliever of the year, Tony Stewart again. So 2 years or 3 years, three reliever of the year awards. Ken Giles finished third. We had 3, 4, and 5. Giles, Stephan, and Abel. And 2 of the 3 are gone. So yeah, I mean, we are going to need to replace those arms. Platinum sticks. We had Keston Hiura at first, Lou at third, Alex Verdugo out and right. Wonder if Verdugo's, his left field ratings aren't great. So, although I imagine that he can pick. He's 31 years old though. I mean, is he really going to pick up left field? I don't know, but that's something to think about. Manager of the year. Oh, I guess let's look at the rest. So the National League. Where are we? National League Gold Gloves. Cantorio with the Reds. Amaya, Bohm, Guillorme, Arenado, Lawler, Willis Gomez, who put up 7.5 WAR in his second season. These two are forever going to be linked in our world here. So Arizona got themselves a good one. But this is what I anticipated. I anticipated he wasn't going to hit a lot of home runs. He was going to hit for a high average. So he put up an 881 OPS, 7.5 WAR, and was very good defensively. So different player, but still very, very good. Drew Jones and Helio Ramos wins the Gold Glove in the for the Giants. And yeah, I think he's going to be my number one target. I think he can hit enough. He's good against lefties, and he's passable against righties. So I'm going to make it work. National League Reliever of the Year, Jorge Carpintero. National League Platinum Stick, Ryan Nelson for the Diamondbacks, Keibert Ruiz. Murakami for the Cubs, Abrams, Jose Ramirez, now of the Cardinals, Corey Seager, Willis Gomez, Cody Bellinger, and Acuna. Murakami won the Rookie of the Year, no surprise there. Brett Jody of the Pirates wins the Manager of the Year. Coy Cobb of the Braves wins the Cy Young in the National League. In the AL, it's Lucas Giolito. We had Hancock finishing third. AL MVP is Caleb Raines of Oakland. Look at those ratings, folks. 7.1 WAR, 38 home runs, 117 RBIs. He had 60 doubles as a rookie. That's a good ball player. And in the National League, it is Acuna, followed by Bellinger and Murakami. Finishes third. So, I'm not averse to paying out a third round comp pick for some of these free agents. I mean, there's some free agents in here that don't cost a lot of money, at least on the offensive end. I mean, $17 million for Julio Rodriguez. I mean, 2 years removed from a 38 home run season, hit 43 a couple of years before that. Yeah, I mean, there's some stuff here. So, we'll see what's going to happen. So I'll be back at the Rule 5, and I will have probably gotten creative because that's what I have to do with this team. So I'll be back in just a sec. All right. It is Christmas Day 2027, which is time for the Rule 5 draft, and we made a splash, folks. And the good news is we have our fan interest up to 90 due to one of the moves that we made. So we are generating a ton more revenue per game, which is giving us some money for extensions, which is big because Marcelo Meyer's contract is up after this season, and we're going to have to pay him. And he doesn't want a ton, so we are going to have to figure out a way to generate about $8 million next year, give or take. But that's a problem for not right now. So let's look at the signing. We're still waiting on Helio. Is it Helio Ramos? Is that his name? It's really bad that I'm offering this guy a contract and I don't remember his name. Yeah, Helio Ramos. We're still waiting on him to sign, and we offered him a contract which I mean, if we get it, it's great. It's a 3-year, $33 million contract. It was like 9, 11, and 13, so it's a nothing contract, which takes him till he's like 31. It's movable, so that's a great deal. The one is, so we were also able to sign. Screw it, I'm not going to do it like that. I'm just going to show you who we signed. No beating around the bush. So our big signing of the offseason was, where is my lineup? We picked up, and I'm very excited about this, Julio Rodriguez from the Seattle Mariners. Now, it's going to create a bit of a logjam in the outfield, especially if we sign Ramos. But, I can put Rodriguez in as DH. He's fragile, so if I can leave him as my designated hitter, that will limit the amount of time he is exposed to injury, I guess. Last season, played 65 games, put up an 841 OPS, hit 38 home runs the year before that, hit 42 home runs, drove in 115 in 2025. 2024, he hit 34 home runs. His rookie season, he hit 20. So he has got 149 home runs by his age 26 season. Will likely make him our designated hitter, as I said. And that's going to leave an interesting decision to make with Keston Hiura. Hiura is a fan favorite, but that $6 million could be used elsewhere, to be perfectly blunt. And then we did sign Edouard Colina. Has him listed as a starting pitcher. His ratings actually don't look bad as a starter. We'll probably use him as a bullpen piece. Actually, I don't know. I mean, what do his ratings look like as a bullpen piece? Set position to reliever. Yeah, we'll probably use him as a setup man. I mean, those are really solid ratings. And then, I mean, he doesn't want any money at all, so we might have to look at bringing him back really quickly here. I mean, $1.3 million is nothing. So that leaves us with about $2 million left to spend this year if we sign Ramos. We've got 10 for next season. We have some contracts that are up. Hiura's likely to be gone. Abel's likely to be gone. Colina we could bring back. None of these guys are, I mean, maybe we look to move Verdugo after this season and we stick Rodriguez in right and we run with Rodriguez, Elijah Green, and Ramos. So that could be, maybe he opts out. I mean, if he opts out, fine. He's got a player option for next season. If he opts out, I have no problem with that. It frees up the money we need to sign Marcelo Meyer. We are going to have to find that money someplace. So hopefully the team just, the team plays well and we continue to build up that money for next season and we're able to bring him back. So that's kind of where we are right now. It's Rule 5 time. Got to put Cam Collier on the 40-man. Anybody else? Zarate how did he do in Double-A last year? Yeah, he's going to start in Double-A. I need to get him ready. I need to get him up because some of our pitchers are expensive. Nelson Lopez will move up, but we're not going to. He doesn't need to be put on the 40-man yet. Jordan Castro. He can get. I guess I can just do all this now. I mean, we'll have to do it again when spring training starts, but Bailey and Bradley, how did they both do last year? Bailey was good in rookie ball, so he can go up to A-ball. Bradley was good in rookie ball, so he can go up to A-ball. Mueller didn't really play, or didn't play. There is no really. O'Grady didn't pitch. Sylvie didn't bat. All right, well, we're going to have to figure out a way to get those guys some at-bats this season. So there's nobody else I need to put on the Rule 5, so let's get to the Rule 5. We're picking last because we won, like, all the games last year. So let's go to our pick. So pitching. He's not bad. Abel's 28. I don't need him. Yeah, it doesn't really look like there are any pitchers. We'll take a look at hitters, too. Usually there are more batters than there are pitchers in this thing. Sir Anthony Dominguez sort of fallen off a cliff. It's a shame for him. And, oh, he's not bad. He's not bad. Well, I don't need him, but he's not bad. And batters. All right, so what do we got for hitters? We got Mario Mendoza, who is a bat. That kid can smoke. That kid can rake. 22 years old. Was okay in Double A last year. Really, really good in High A as a 22-year-old. I mean, he's already almost fully developed. We may take him just to have him as an asset that we can trade. I'm big about doing that. Dan Sabagal, elite second baseman, number 58 prospect in baseball. And this may be a year where we take a couple of guys and try to move them for somebody better. Those look to be the two prize options, at least from my eyes. I think I'm going to take both of those players if I can. So we're going to take Mendoza first. See if Sabagal is there with our next pick, and he is. Because, I mean, we could also just make him our starting second baseman and call it a day, but he's a bit better hitter than Morrissey is. But we're going to take those two guys, and we are going to complete the draft. And, sorry, gotta pause for a sec. All right, we're good. All right, so Rule 5 is done. We get a couple of players there, one from the Rangers, one from the Nationals. And I don't know if you consider this gaming the system, but I mean, Mendoza's better than Gargas, so I mean, we can immediately improve our defense that way, or improve our offense that way. But if we try to move Sabagal now, who's the number 58 prospect. I mean, what can we get? Oh, I only have it listed as all batters. Let's go to all players. Let's see what sort of pitchers we can get to. I mean, I would take a worse pitcher that could develop, if that makes sense. Brady House. 24 years old. Did we forget to re-sign Brady House? I think we did. Damn it. In fact, we forgot to re-sign all of our minor league free agents, which is why we only have 8 and 9 players on these teams. So at spring training, I'm going to have to go in and sign a whole bunch of veterans. I mean, I would like to bring Brady House back. I would be okay with that. He's not on the 40, man. You don't like it. Why don't you like him? Maybe I can get more. What sort of minor league depth can I get here? So where are we shy? I mean, I guess I really shouldn't look at this, but first, short, left in the bullpen. Jim Dalrymple. No. I don't want to give anything else up. Pat Krause. He looks pretty good. I like his batting stats. He can't. Okay. Ricky Mercado. I want to get Brady House back. So what will it take to get him? Bunch of players that I don't want to give up. Damn it. It sucks. This one's on me. This one is on me. I mean, I don't think he's ever going to hit enough, but it would have been nice to have him as some depth. What else was available? Let's go back to... where am I going? Shop a player. I mean, I would honestly be fine making that deal for House, honestly. Without getting anything extra. Although, maybe I can get both of these guys. Can I get Woodcocks and House? Well, they don't even want to give me House for him, so they probably won't give me Woodcock and House. Man, what a terrible name. I mean, I'd be fine with that. So let's sim ahead. Try to bring Brady House back into the fold. Trade offers expired. Okay, so that's fine. We're still waiting on Helio Ramos. So at this point, I think I'm going to go ahead and sim forward to... Oh, no, you know what? We got to do Hall of Fame voting. And then I'm going to sim ahead till really opening day, I think, unless something ridiculous happens. So Beltran and Beltre. Bartolo Colon. Zach Greinke. Some of these guys I'd like to vote for, but they won't get in. Like Helton, I think, deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. King Felix's peak was just fantastic. I think Lester deserves to be in. I don't think either of them are going to get in, but JD Martinez, Victor Marte, Joe Mauer, I think deserves to be in. Yadi Molina. Sabathia, Suzuki, and there's my 10. Okay. Oh, well, I got to get Verlander in there, so let's take out Hernandez and put in Verlander. All right. And I have been recording, right? Yes, okay. All right, so that's good. I'm going to pause again, and I'm going to sim ahead to opening day. And hopefully by then, Ramos will have signed, and we'll have figured out what we're going to do with Keston Hiura, and we'll go from there. So I will be back shortly. All right, we are a couple days away from opening day. It was a very, very good spring for us. Obviously, spring training records don't mean a whole hell of a lot, but we finished 19-9 for what it was worth. We signed a ton of players to minor league contracts. We have a lot of depth now, should we suffer some injuries. You can see, I mean, anywhere from Dan Vogelbach to old friend Austin Riley is back in the fold. I would say the craziest one, though, is we signed, where is he? Kodai Senga, who doesn't appear at first glance to be all that fantastic, but he was second in the American League in wins last year. And we signed him to a minor league deal. We called him up. He's probably going to get DFA'd. Devin Williams is definitely going to get DFA'd. We don't have a lot of decisions to make. We only have 30 players left on the roster. We did finally sign Ramos, and you can see we stuck him in left field during spring training, and he's already a 99 out in left field. We are going to have just an absolutely absurd defensive outfield. We did make one deal, and it was, I don't even remember how long ago it was at this point, a month? What month are we in? April, so nothing in March. Here we go. February. So we traded Keston Hiura. I wanted the money, a little bit extra money for this year, and while he's a captain, he wasn't going to play every day, and I just didn't think it was worth it. And we traded Sabogal, who we picked up in the Rule 5. We drafted him in the Rule 5 specifically to trade him. And in return, we get a 27-year-old closer from Washington named Alex Mejia, who's currently on the DL and will be for another 2 months. But, yeah. I mean, potential 93 stuff, 74 movement, 62 control, 100 fastball, and a great slider. He is due ARB next season, so, you know, this may be a one-year thing unless we can somehow find some money. Because he is not number one on that we have to re-sign list. That is Marcelo Meyer. We have to find, somewhere in the vicinity of $20 million this year. So I'm kind of at this point hoping that Verdugo opts out of his contract, but that's a problem for not this year. I would hate for our 25-year-old star shortstop to hit free agency. We're gonna have to figure something out to try to generate enough money to make that happen. So, but that's a problem for next season, not this season. So we have 30 players on our big league roster. We got to send 2 pitchers down. So pitching ratings. Mike Beal, he has become incredibly disappointing. He was 5 stars when we drafted him. His control is pretty much maxed out. He doesn't look like he's going to be anything special. He'll be 1. And, I mean, Senga's the obvious option as the other one. But if we send him down, we are going to expose him. Actually, I think we're going to send Hased down. Because he still needs, I still think he needs some room for growth. And that will allow us to hang. He's out of option years. Damn. Okay. All right. Well, I'm not going to think too long and hard about this. Kodai Senga, I don't think we'll be able to just send. Oh, I can just send him down. Okay, perfect. All right. So here is our rotation. Grayson Rodriguez, Jackson Jobe, Will Sanders, Emerson Hancock, Charles Hayden Jones. So it's going to be Hancock, Rodriguez, Jobe, Hayden Jones, and Will Sanders. We're going to have Andy Taylor as our closer. Takelet has got his control up to a 38 now. That's perfect. He's going to be our stopper. Eater and Abel will be setup men. Sproat and Colina will be our middle relief, and Colina will be used more often. And then Hased and Hill will be, we're going to avoid high leverage with Hased. Yeah, so our bullpen is, I mean, Abel, look at Abel. 18 and a third innings in spring training, didn't allow a single run. So that is our bullpen. That is our pitching staff. We have to send, one more person down? 2. Okay, so we're going to send 2 players down. So Cam Collier is going to go down to AAA, and he'll be up before the season's over, I'm sure. And Gargis. So that leaves us with 6 outfielders. That's a ton. We don't need that many outfielders on our team. We do not need that many outfielders on our team. Who's going to be our backup first baseman? Mendoza? Stick him at first? Get him some playing time there? Sure, why not? Against righties, it'll be every 5th game. All right, so we got to backtrack here. So let's clear the lineups. All right, so batting ratings. Alex Verdugo is going to be our leadoff hitter. Marcelo Meyer will be our number 3. Lou will be our number 4. Julio Rodriguez will be our number 5. I don't want to go like that. I would like to do lefty, righty, lefty, but I don't know if that's going to be an option with this team. I guess we can bat Ramos second. No, we bat Green second with that batting eye. Yep. And then Rodriguez is our DH, and then we bat Green behind Rodriguez, and then we bat Corey Collins in the 7 hole, and then we bat Helio Ramos in the 8 hole, and Josiah Morrissey as the number 9 hitter. All right, so it wants to put Caranto at first. I don't. We're going to put Mendoza at first. And again, we're going to start him every 5th game. Gomez will start every 4th game. I don't want Caranto playing shortstop every 2nd game. That's not what I want to do. So Bishop's not going to play a whole lot, which is fine. Copy that lineup and paste it. So we are far more right-handed this year, which is good. We were a left-handed heavy squad a year ago against lefties. We will put Gomez in there. Move him down in the lineup a bit. And every 3 games like we do on the other side. Again, I don't want to start Caranto every 2nd game. Game really, really likes Kai Caranto. And I guess if we lose Meyer, I mean, we can go all in on this defense thing, and Caranto can be our starting shortstop, as he is a better fielder, but, you know, I'd rather not. So against lefties, paste the lineup. So against the National League, I think we're going to take Ramos out, put Verdugo in left, and put Rodriguez in right. I'd rather have that bat out there, I think. And not that, I mean, Rodriguez is hardly a slouch with the glove. I mean, he's perfectly acceptable in right field. So then we need to copy this lineup, paste it, and same deal. We'll take Ramos out, put him in right, put him in left. Actually, I think, no, we do it like this. No, we're going to leave it like that. Yeah, we leave it like that. And then go like that. And against righties, same deal. We'll put Mendoza in at first base every few games to get him a shot. Hopefully he can, I mean, if he can develop into a backup right fielder / first baseman, I mean, he's clearly got, I mean, his bat will play without question. And if, I mean, Green got better at first base, so he's a very good defensive first baseman now. So even if he doesn't develop from a glove perspective or from a bat perspective, we can always start Mendoza and then have Green as that backup at multiple positions, because he can play first and the corners. So, and that's a very valuable skill set. So, all right, so our lineups are set. We have $4.75 million left to spend this year if we need to add, and you can see all the minor league contracts that we signed. Couple of our former players, who did we want to, let's look at the league. See if I can find some of those major contract signings from some of our former players. Because they did all sign places. Let's see. I guess we can just do it like this. So, if my brain would work, Trevor Bauer signed with the Texas Rangers, a 1-year deal worth $8 million. That's pretty. That's a pretty solid deal for Texas, without a doubt. Ken Giles has moved on as well. Ken Giles is signed with the Houston Astros, a 2-year deal with a vesting option on that second year at $8 million. So thank you for your service, Ken. You were phenomenal for us. One of the best deals we have had in our time here with the Tigers. Who else did we walk away from? I think that was really it from... Yeah, because our offense is basically the same, adding Rodriguez and Ramos and subtracting... Oh, I don't... Has... Who did we trade for last year? Who was the left fielder from Baltimore? Why can't I think of his name? In fact, I think he might still be a free agent. So this is what happens when you get older, guys. The memory just goes to crap. Austin Hayes still hasn't signed with anybody. Looks like he's going to make over $20 million a year, though, so good for him. Still a couple of decent free agents. Michael Conforto's still out there, still has some power and good eye. Tyler Freeman's a good contact second baseman. Sam Huff is a pretty good defensive catcher with some power. Giancarlo Stanton is still there if we really want a power bat. I don't know. I mean, do we make a run after someone like Giancarlo Stanton? I mean, against lefties, where would we really don't have a place to play him, though. I mean, maybe we start him at first base against lefties. I think I want to do this. Sure. Why the hell not? So let's see if we can bring Giancarlo Stanton, and if we can, we'll send down. We will send down Braylon Bishop. And starting at first base against lefties will be Giancarlo Stanton. Although Green's not terrible against lefties, Stanton is just better. I mean, why not? He doesn't want a lot of money, and you know, if he ends up being terrible, it's only money this year that we were going to spend anyway. So, last minute signing. So, player development. Takelet got better. We talked about that already. Hayden Jones got better. He got a lot better, actually. We need big things out of the number 67 prospect in baseball this year. Cam Collier got better. If he can hit in AAA this year, he'll be up next year, and we'll find a spot for him. He'll back up at third, back up at first, play some DH, maybe a corner outfield position. I mean, he's an elite defensive third baseman. So maybe we do something with Lou and move him around the diamond a little bit. But again, problem for another episode, not this one. Cool. All right, so let's get up to opening day. And then as always, I'll play April offline. And next episode we'll come back. We'll do May and June. So I like our off season. It's putting us in a bit of a bind for next year, but I'm hopeful that with the increased fan interest, that will continue to allow our budgets to grow. And hopefully, I mean, I got to figure out a way to bring back Marcelo Meyer. I have to make it work, even if that means taking a bath on one of those contracts that we have out there. I got to figure it out. I can't let him walk. So, all right. So, season expectations. He only wants us to play better than 500 ball. Stanton is on the club. So, we have to now send Bishop down. And where is Mr. Stanton? He's right there. So, we are going to, against lefties, stick Giancarlo Stanton in there at first base. And, yeah, let's just see what happens, shall we? How's Good Green's bat against lefties? He's getting better. I think we do this. Pat Julio Rodriguez second. Giancarlo Stanton will play first base against lefties, and hopefully he can just mash against lefties. And against righties, he'll be one of our pinch hitters. And hopefully he's okay with that. Yeah, see, this is the thing. Like, he wanted a minor league contract, but he wants to be in the starting lineup, so I don't get it. But at any rate, we wanted to improve our power. I think we did so this year. We lost Bryce Ball, but we brought in Giancarlo Stanton and Julio Rodriguez. Front office, again, we're down to about 1.5 this year. Preseason predictions have us going 93-69. Rodriguez, 47 and 134. I'll take it if that's what he ends up doing. Nobody on the pitching side of things. Middle of the road pitching staff, it looks like 4.34 ERA. But I suspect that defensively we're going to be really good again this year too. So, minor league system rankings, top 100 prospects. We have nobody in the top 10. We have graduated our prospects. We still have the third overall system because we've got Zarate, who's 11th. He's going to start in Double-A. He'll likely be up next season. Collier will start in AAA. I just need him to hit. Just need him to hit a little bit. Castro will start in high A ball. He looks to be pretty solid as well. Armelini is still in rookie ball. I got to make a move there. We'll call him up to A ball, and his why does it do that anyway? I don't know. So there's Armelini and then Charles Hayden Jones. So let's look at our pipeline and make sure we didn't miss anyone. Balog is in AAA right now. He'll be up next year. Bailey's going to start in A ball. Coliano is going to start in A ball. Bradley's going to start in A ball. Desmond is going to move up to A ball as well. Castro is still in the international complex. Sylvie was our number one pick a year ago. Needs to get some playing time for sure this year. Yeah, we have a lot of young players still. So we're replacing our current prospect haul with, these 21, 22, 23-year-olds are getting replaced by these 18 and 19 and 20-year-olds. And that's exactly how it's supposed to work. So, guys, that is going to do it for this episode. When we come back, it'll be May 1st. Hopefully we will have a successful start to the season. It was a bit of a rough start to last year, so hopefully we don't run into that same sort of thing. And hopefully we can finally break through this year. I think we may have to address our starting pitching at some point. I mean, Hancock has been good. Rodriguez has been good. But we are lacking that ace, and I think we have enough pieces to bring in an ace if we want to. So I don't know if there's anybody on the trade block. Asiel Rodriguez, but I think he's injury prone. Yeah, he's fragile. I mean, I wouldn't mind going after someone like this from the Yankees if we didn't have to give up a ton in return because he's fragile. But, you know, that's a problem for another episode. So, guys, I appreciate you watching. Appreciate the support as always. And we'll talk to everybody soon. Bye-bye.